If you're working with video in Cubase or any other DAW, what you might find is some of the material that you get sent has sound already on it. Now, you can get sent stuff in a variety of formats. You might get stuff that's straight out of the camera, or you might have shot it yourself. You might get stuff that's come from a professional shoot, or you might get all kinds of stuff sent to you, and hopefully, if the other person has done their job, these files should be correctly labelled and named so you know what they are. In this case here, we've got a clip of this ferry, and we have a soundtrack that goes with it. Now, your job when you're working, composing music to picture, isn't really to mix the sound. That's a separate job. That's a sound mixer's job, or a post-production sound mixer's job, to deal with the location sound, the ambience, the voiceover, the dialogue, and what they call the Foley effects, which are spot effects like footsteps, doors closing, gunshots, stuff like that. Nonetheless, you may actually have to kind of deal with these inside a project, not for the finished product, but just as you're working on it. You might need to know, for example, when people are speaking, you're going to need to know what kind of sound is supposed to be going on in the scene that you're composing for, okay? So, really, the sound that gets stripped off any video file can be treated just like any other audio clip. You can see it's got volume handles, it's got fade handles, and you can put effects on or whatever you want to do, but as I mentioned, that's not really your task unless you're doing actual film sound in Cubase, which is also possible, but that's not what we're talking about. So, if I just play the music back with the program sound, what you'll hear is that it's quite intrusive, right? So we've got a horn there going. This is actually the Governor's Island ferry in New York. And what I can do, obviously I can turn this down if I want to. I can go to my fader and I can just... by just selecting that horn sound there. I could temporarily make that a bit quieter, and then I can right click and I can choose to process that sound, and I can say I want it to be quieter. I can process its gain downwards a little bit. Sounds okay. And then process. And so what I've done there is I've not completely removed it, but I've taken that sound down a bit. And that just saves a bit of time, because you might want to hear the sound that's on either side of it, but you might not want to hear that great big hoot going on. And as I've mentioned, this isn't going to go in the finished product more than likely. So what you're doing here is just for your working process as you're composing. But the point is that you can tweak things a little bit in your favor as you're working with the music.